All right, we're here. It's happening. Happy New Year. Yeah. Um, Hi guys. Hope you had a nice, safe, warm, cozy holiday. I did a lot of travel. I went somewhere for the holidays and then I came home for a day and then went to the beach for New Year's, which was great. But now I'm back and there's no ocean outside my door. But I'm back streaming. Hello. Happy New Year, folks. Crystal Briar is here. Underpope's here. Space Valkyries is here. Hello. You made it. You sure did. Glad to see you. Crystal Briar wants to know, quick question. How do I make big bucks at a best-selling independently published author? It's probably going to involve writing, right? It depends on what podcast you're listening to, really. Underpope, I already said hello to you. Well, I'll say it again. Ian's here. Hello. Yeah, Happy New Year. It's sometimes I feel like every year is telling the year before it, hold my beer. But we still maintain our little lives and try to improve them and try to go do better things. Or build a writing career. I'm energy's a little low today. I had an appointment this morning. It went fine. But then after that I thought, I'm going to do all these errands because I'm out. Every single one of them. I suppose one of them went okay, but it's like, we don't have that prescription in the house, or we don't, our Jiffy Lube is too new to do state inspections, so we can't do them. And just driving all over the damn place. And yeah, but it's time to stream and do a podcast. If you do not know, I started a new show, because of course I did, called Stet. And this is Patreon only for the time being. I did release number 1. I didn't release it to the feed yet. I guess I should do that. But it's available for free at patreon.com/mightymur. And I announced it on Instagram, and it's going to be about a 10-minute scripted audio episode from Evil Mur on how to build a writing career. And the first episode is about whatever you were gifted this Christmas, or Hanukkah, which I'm betting is some sort of blank journal or book. Now, this is difficult because I don't want anybody to think I don't like blank journals or books. I'm just giving you what Evil Mur suggests about the gift. Remember that. But it was a lot of fun to write, and if you want something a little bit more, I guess it helps you blow off steam. It helps me blow off steam. Talking about writing to the utmost extreme ridiculousness I can. But yeah, that's right now at patreon.com/mightymur, and it'll be in the regular podcast feed as well. So if you're listening to this later, you will have already gotten it. Ooh. The kids are asleep is here. My dear friend Valerie, who I have not seen a stream of yours in a while. And that's actually because I've been doing like quality time with my family for a while. Like, we're not sick of each other yet. We're watching the same TV shows, and I guess that's healthy. I was very excited last year, and then again recently I became obsessed with the social deduction game Nocia, which is being pronounced in several different ways by several different people in several different languages, but it's Gnosia, and it looks simple on the surface, because you just have to decide. If you've ever played Werewolf or Mafia, you know the drill. Someone among you is the traitor, and you have to find them. And if you don't find them, then one of your people gets banished, and then the traitor kills somebody that night. So, and the dialogue isn't really, I was surprised how, simple the dialogue was. Like when they're arguing, different people will have pretty much the same set of arguments. But then when you start looking at who has more influence and who has other motives and who has different roles or secret roles, and then you grow your own abilities, it becomes a very interesting game. And then last year, I remember hearing that it was coming out as an anime, and then I forgot about it because ADHD. And so I just found out that the anime started. It's on Crunchyroll. So we've watched all of Nocia so far, although they're calling it Good Nocia. It's a lot like the game, but it still is engrossing. Of course, the dialogue is a little bit more, a little less repetitive, but it really does feel like you're watching a more stylized version of the game. But it does get into other things that we haven't seen in the game, other scenes. But the most interesting thing, just as a person who writes stories and looks at the world around us as stories, there are 3 non-binary characters in the anime. 3. Including the POV person. Which I just blew me away. I think that was great. And I guess the 2 characters are non-binary in the game, and you can choose your own orientation. But it is a fun, interesting social deduction game, and now an anime. The first season is done on Crunchyroll. I think the second season begins in 2 days. Not sponsored. I just really liked it. And I made my family watch it, and they seem to like it too. They've not gotten too much into the game, but... And I'm playing the game again. Because even though the point of the game is to find out everybody's secrets, and once you figure out their secrets, you can figure out how to stop the time loop, because whenever either the bad guys win or the good guys win, then you have another time loop. But what you're supposed to be doing in that time is learning about your fellow people, and that those revelations are slow coming. You know, like somebody's actually the captain of the ship, and somebody is a sort of monk that's devoted to the actual aliens that you're fighting against, and somebody's only a year old, but a vat clone, things like that. But anyway, that's what I've been up to. Did a lot of gaming and TV watching at the beach. Just a lot of chill downtime. We all needed it. And now back to it. The one person on my street who makes an effort to get to know people is moving. Now I won't know anyone. I mean, I know their names. Most of them. Some of them. All right, the people on either side of me and across the street. It's not my fault. They're no friendlier than I am. All right. We're going to talk. We're going to talk about writing. We're going to talk about writing in a podcast format. Okay. I should be writing season 22, episode 1. Hi there, welcome to I Should Be Writing. This is the podcast for wannabe fiction writers, and I'm your host, Mur Lafferty. I've been writing professionally since 2013. I've been podcasting since the dawn of time, or 2004, one or the other. And I do this show usually every week just to help you know that chasing after that creative career is not impossible. I'm also very honest about my own trials and tribulations, not to whine into the microphone, but more to show you that you're not alone. Whatever doubt you're feeling, I'm either feeling it right now or I have already. I'm in a weird place right now where I have turned in everything. And I'm just playing around with a book. And I did the thing where, sometimes you read a book like what you're writing because you want to get inspired, or for me it's a lot. I always imagine calling it jumping off a diving board, because it doesn't, I don't want to copy what the book does, but it'll give me an idea that I can leap away from and go off on my own direction, which is not diving really, is flying, but I'll work on the metaphor. But sometimes when I do that, it could also make me sad, because the book I'm reading might be very good, and good in a way that I am not planning on. I won't even put myself down and say, I can't write like that, even though I can't. I'm just going to say, that is not the book I wanted to write, but it's really good. And then I feel doubt, which is what happened. I have a book of, I'll be very vague, but I was going to take a situation that could be played very dark or could be played amusingly, depending on the lens you have. And I was going for amusing. But I picked up another book that was like, it felt like most of the setup was similar to mine. So I thought, and that sounds good. It sounded like a great book. So I picked it up. And it starts out with, this book portrays the realities of war's atrocities, and you'll find the list of content warnings at the back of the book. And I turned to the back of the book and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of stuff. And I'm actually not sure if I have the stomach to read the book itself after all the content warnings. But also, I hadn't planned on many of those. And then I think, well, one, do I just suck at the whole creation of conflict? Which I do on a first draft. I'll be honest. I like to put people in fun situations and have them come out pretty okay. Luckily, what you guys read is my edit of that. So we eventually get some conflict in there. People working against each other. But I realized that when you write something funny in a dark atmosphere, you got to walk a really, really fine line, because you can make it funny, but you also can be offensive. I believe John Scalzi said the failure mode of clever is asshole. I am 18 minutes into the stream and my phone just said, hey, Murs sent me the email of Murs streaming. Anyway. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the proper conflicts that I want my characters to deal with. Remember that I am going something more humorous. And, but I can't I guess what it told me was I can't overlook the fact that, as David Sedaris says, going from slavery to friendship usually has a couple of decades of anger and bloodshed between them. And my mind is not, my setup is not that extreme, but it is sort of like a 20 years after this war, are people just buddy-buddy? Probably not. Especially since the humans didn't win. Spoiler, the humans did not win in the war that I'm talking about in my book, if it ever gets published. And I entitled this episode, Careful What You Pack, because I have They Might Be Giants song going through my head, for one. But the other one is, we love resolutions, regardless of whether we say resolutions are good, and then we won't go, no, resolutions are bad because it's just setting you up for failure. And then we go, oh no, not resolutions, but goals are good. And then it's like, okay, you can't have your goal focusing on anything anybody else does, because then you just focus on a goal that you can achieve. You don't lose weight, you walk more or eat better. You don't get a book published and get an agent, because that requires somebody else. You just write more and get critiqued, etc., etc. And I'm just feeling like the new year has two things, which for most people, it's we're done with the good, in some cases, a lot of food, a lot of excess, a lot of hanging around and not moving that much. And which is why I think a lot of people do the whole, I'm going to start working out again. It's not just because it's the turn of the year. It's because for the past 3 weeks, there's been a lot of food and travel, and a lot of us are just bloated. I mean, come on. But also, when you've had that step away, you come back and you think, all right, I'm looking at it with new eyes after my break. But let's be honest, a lot of us feel a lot of anxiety and doubt. I know more than one person, including myself, who's just kind of looking at their career like, there's a big cliff there. Are these wings going to carry me? Or am I just going to fall? More than one person who I consider a better writer than me are thinking this. So I don't want to bring those fears into the new year. I don't want to bring anxiety and self-doubt, even though I know it's coming with me. I have to remember that all I can do is right. I haven't said my mantra for a little while, which helps me when I feel overwhelmed, especially when the state of the world is wretched. And that's all I can do is what I can do right now. And I know it sounds simple, but it's like, I can't, even if I were someone with authority or power or a lot of money or something, I still can only do one thing. And what is that thing? So if I'm fretting about my career, all I can do is one thing right now. And maybe that's post about the podcast on social media, which I have stayed away from since before that emerald wearing Nepo baby ruined Twitter. I'm going to take a moment and go to chat. Quality time in this economy. Indeed, kids are asleep. We did spend quality time together. Underpope agrees that 2004 is the dawn of time. Thank you. Thank you for the validation. Crystal Briar had 2 block parties this fall. You have super cool neighbors who are much more outgoing than me. Well, I have neighbors who might be cool, except a couple of weeks after they moved in, my dog got out and bit their dog. So our communication has been, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Here's money for the vet bill. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Here's my dog's rabies information. And after that, I felt they probably don't want to talk to me. So I try not to, you know, yeah, it's been awkward. Rose is a sweetie, but she doesn't like other dogs. The good point is the 2 times she's gotten out, we fixed that. We fixed how she got out. So it's very unlikely to happen again. Anyway, and the rest of my neighbors, a lot of them are just, we've been here for decades. And so it's like, how do you start a friendship at this point? It's like that episode of Friends where Chandler's like, yeah, the guy calls me the wrong name, but I wanted a donut, so I let him. And he still doesn't know my name 3 years later. I remember taking a walk during 2020, when we were all facing the very bizarre lockdown that none of us had ever encountered. And I looked on a cul-de-sac of some people I know, and they had like a big bonfire in the middle of the cul-de-sac. They were all just getting together every night and hanging out with bonfire. We did not set anything on fire, and perhaps that is where we failed. I don't know. Oh, and yeah. And tree lobsters, hello. The non-humans release a brain parasite that makes the humans feel okay about losing the war. Oh, I see. That's the suggestion. Yeah, I don't know. Brain parasites, always interesting. But then, if that happens, part of the plot has to be fighting against the parasite. It's like, if anybody's watching Pluribus, it's everything's great now that the aliens have taken over, and only that I know of, 2 people on Earth are saying this is not cool. And even people that haven't been taken over are like, no, it's cool because everyone's nice now. Yeah, if you've seen Pluribus, let me know. It's amazing. And the season finale was pretty jaw-dropping. But anyway, back to our subject. I'm not sure what else I was going to say about this. Well, now I'm embarrassed. How are you guys? Oh, to talk about what I'm reading. I do want to talk about what I'm reading because I am learning things. I started reading The Compound, which was a big Good Morning America book, and it's really it's a dystopian story about it's a reality show that is kind of like Big Brother, I guess. I have not watched Big Brother, but I guess it's the most likely one. It's called The Compound, and it's about people who try to stay in the house the longest, but there's a lot of hetero pairings up, and the violence hasn't started, but it's been hinted at. I'm hoping we get some violence because the people are kind of insufferable, and I have a theory about the main character, which is getting me through it. But right now on the surface, she is utterly uninteresting. Not even unlikable. She's just uninteresting. She's like, I was voted the second most attractive woman, and I feel good about that. And I'm good with going along with with what everybody else says to do. And I mean, literally, she has said these things. This is not like me interpreting. This is things she talks about, her own personality. And I'm just waiting for something terrible to happen, so it will be interesting. The other thing is, it's called The Compound. People living in a large house surrounded by a perimeter fence. And I think one reason why they're not allowed to talk about their past, they're just basically like, they talk about their names and that's it. They can't talk about where they lived or what they did for a living, if they have family, etc. But they have hinted at there's a big war going on. And that's all we know. That they're in the desert, the compound is in the desert, and there's a war happening. I've got the feeling that it's got to get more interesting soon, or else I'm going to lose interest. I have the sad feeling that if someone were to die, they would have done so already. So it's yeah, it's kind of like there's hints. There's hints that someone's already been killed, but we're not sure. There's a hint that the POV character is more than just a pretty face, and what the more is not very good. But again, I need more revealed, and I'm trying to think when I don't like a book and I can't figure out why. I keep reading. Like, I have books I DNF'd after a chapter. Just could not get into it. Didn't care, whatever. This one, the writing's good, and I'm willing to accept it might be interesting if something were to happen. But if it just keeps being kind of boring like this, I'm probably not going to finish it. I'm also reading a book for a blurb, and I don't think I can tell you what that is. I'm rereading it just because I don't think I've read it since I was a teenager, and there's a lot of stuff in here that I forgot about. Like, I remembered a lot of key scenes, like when Beverly leaves her husband in the beginning of the book. I remember the scene from the end. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, be happy. What the hell was he thinking? I don't know. But it is a fascinating book, so I do recommend it with some caveats. What else? Oh, that's right. My kid got me the self-help book, Dungeons and Dragons, How to Be More D&D. So looking at your life with the concept of D&D. It's been fun. Oh, that's right. I was reading on a more fun level, Recipes for an Unexpected Afterlife, which y'all know I have interest in afterlives and undead, and this is more of a fantasy thing of, I think basically it's the cozy fantasy of somebody going from a life and an undeath of violence and deciding to open up an inn or something. We haven't gotten to the inn part, but we do know that the Death Knight likes to cook. And that one is by Destin J. Munden. And the compound is by Aisling Rawl. Pardon me if I said any of that wrong. The kids aren't asleep. Finished your book and I'm over halfway through the edit. Wow, congrats. Underpope's dealing with asthma. Weren't you just dealing with a migraine? Your body needs to give you a break. And Tree Lobsters moved. Never really got to know your neighbors. COVID hit early 2020, though. Not a lot of socializing anyway. Yeah. Ashlyn Rawl. Thank you. But if you're looking it up, it's spelled Aisling. I remember trying to get to know my neighbors. But, like, I invited them to games and stuff. And they just never said okay. Our kids played together from time to time. And then their kid drank out of our rain barrel, and we had to take the kid back home and say, your kid just drank from our rain barrel, so you might want to watch him. That one was not our fault. Oh, yeah, ads. I know the Irish pronunciations do mess you up. And I'm supposed to be Irish. It's supposed to be. But it's, enough of an American mutt to not know the pronunciation of my peoples. All right, the ad break should be over. And yeah, I don't want to talk about the other book I was writing because I don't want to put that book down. It looks pretty amazing if you like that dark of fantasy. It definitely starts out with it starts out with a scene that really makes you squirm. And I don't even mean like on a gore level, but the description of somebody's current situation is awful, and the description is very, very vivid, and therefore it's awful. So it definitely puts you invested in the book really fast, which we could all learn to do, because a lot of us, including me, go into a story slowly, stepping in. Water's cold, make it slow. And sometimes you just got to throw them in. And I think books are better when they do that. It's just, how do you decide where to do that? I've mentioned this before, but I've always wanted to interview George Martin because of where he decided to start A Song of Ice and Fire. Because the without spoiling anybody, if you haven't read it or watched it, I don't know if you ever will, but the main story started 20 years ago when basically someone flirted with somebody they shouldn't. And then a lot of crap happened, and a throne was changed hands, and etc. So we don't get that story. We get the story of 20 years later. And no one's, of course, talking about what happened 20 years before. So you don't even realize that's a thing in the story. And so it's dribbled out through many books. And, I'm still not thrilled with George R. R. Martin and the 2019 Hugo Party. But, the man can write a story. Or the 2020 Hugo Awards. Anyway. Tree Lobsters was mulling an idea in which someone who has their brain uploaded to an artificial body just before dying later runs into their undead self. Awkwardness ensues. I mean, go for it. That sounds great. The thing I'm working around is my character, going to the undead lands, running into her neighbor. And, there's this, frightening lich or zombie. And it's just like, Carol, is that you? Because, it could be. Who knows? No one ever talks about when you do meet with the Lich King. Was the Lich King your dad's boss? We always assumed that those powerful undead were not real people at one point. But they could have been. Underpope always wondered how to write a story about a ghost and a zombie that came from the same person. Okay. So the soul gets severed, and so the body starts animating, but there's enough of the soul to make a ghost as well. Yeah, that story is interesting, but it's also it's kind of how we look at clone stories. Like, what experiences have you had that I didn't, and and why. What in your brain chemicals fired to make you do that thing when I was terrified of it and decided not to. There's also a game out there called The Alters, and I started playing it when it came out, but there was a game ending bug, and it got nominated for a couple of game awards. So I kind of want to go back to it and see if that is fixed. But essentially, a guy crash lands on a planet, and everybody in his ship is dead. And so the computer starts grabbing clones of him, but these are like multiverse clones. So they're going to grab the clone that decided to study something else in school. Or we're going to see the clone that did not marry or did marry the woman he was in love with, etc. And so we're going to get all those guys eventually, I think. And of course, they're like, why am I in your loser world? Can't I go back to mine? And not very happy. So I'm eager to start that again. I've forgotten about that one. I've been doing too much Stardew Valley or Baldur's Gate 3 because those are my comfort games, even though I'm playing The Dark Urge, which is not very comforting in Baldur's Gate. Maldarian says, I've been employed by many people that would have fit right into the Lich King's organization. Oh boy. Yeah. I was listening to a guy on YouTube talk about liches today. And it went over, and I don't know which version of D&D this was, but going over how one becomes a lich. And it's like, grab these forbidden herbs and get the blood of a baby humanoid for this reason, and go get the blood of a baby humanoid for that reason. And so it's like, it's murdering babies, and it's getting blood from a virgin, which, virginity's, that's a social concept. So that's a little bit like the Gremlins rules. If you cross the international date line, do the Gremlins still pop out? Some of that stuff is unfortunately anti-Semitic holdovers. Oh God, I see that now. Thank you for pointing that out. Do you know if they have fixed that in recent editions? I found the Lich on the D&D wiki, but it's mainly there's no lore. It's all stats and art. But no, we do not want to put anti-Semitic coded characters in my book. No. Do you guys have any questions or comments about the new year coming up? Would love to talk about that. There's some articles that talk about it. Yeah, so if I've got liches in my story, I should probably look at those. Although I was not going to go into the baby killing and draining of blood. I am wondering where vampires fit in my world. Or if they do it all. We'll see. Kerbal Space Program has been your comfort game lately. I don't know if I know that one. It sounds familiar. I'm going to look that up real quick, because why not? Oh, those guys, right. I've seen screenshots. I've not seen the game. Does anybody look far ahead and make goals for the year? I never feel organized enough to do that. Because, I don't know what's going to happen. Am I going to, is the goal... my biggest problem with goal setting... with regards to my writer career, is my goal's always write the next book. Hope it does better than the last one. And if I were to think about like really cool ideas I could, things to shoot for, I've already done a Star Wars book. I've done a computer game book. I'd love to do a game based on the properties that I love, like Dragon Age or Baldur's Gate. But I also know the downsides of work for hire. So I don't know if I want to take another one. But it's just like goals of write another book, write a good book. I don't know. It's too vague for me. Space Valkyries, one goal is to just write without toning my stories down a bit. I'm prone to writing anime-esque over-the-top stories, and I've been trying to tone them down, but I shall do that less or try to. I think I start toned down. That's my problem. And so this is something that you can, you be as extreme as you want on the first draft, and then you can tone it down. And I'll be as boring as I want on the first draft. And then maybe give them some conflict on the second. Maybe we could meet in the middle. Crystal Briar makes goals every year. Sometimes I achieve them even. Wow. Can you share with us what kind of goals? Not if you don't want to, but I'm curious. Kids Are Asleep already has goals, so it feels like just rolling them over into the new year. Underpope, finish one draft, revise my novella, revise a novel, and possibly outline another. Underpope's very driven. Big inspiration. Imagining a seminar and becoming a lich held in a hotel conference space. 7 easy steps to gaining lich quick. Oh boy. See, that's the kind of humor that I don't know if I want to go that into the like PTA real world absurd, but there's got to be something there. I've got like one group of fae who most of their magic is connected to music. They were providing dinner music during the surrender talks, and that dinner music was actually a subversive, resisting song that became a huge hit later. Because that's the way my mind goes. Some of the get rich quick scams I've been dodging. I don't even know if that pun is like real or supposed to be amusing. I mean, it is amusing. I'm just saying that. Are you talking about something real? Because in this world, sure, I can believe it. I'm also doing a standing desk, which I kind of like, I kind of don't. We'll see. It's kind of like I trade one pain for another when I do that. Well, if nobody has any questions, I'm probably going to wrap it up. Remember, if you are not a Patreon supporter, Patreon supporters will receive this episode unedited with all the bloopers and chatty bits kept in, and they'll get it early and they'll get it ad-free. So you can support at the Patreon at patreon.com/MightyMur. They'll also get the exclusive podcast Stet from Evil Mur, giving you the absolute worst writing advice. It's the worst. It's absolutely terrible. Incidentally, I may need help. My intent is to give make Stet a different acronym every single time. And I know, considering how bad I am with wordplay, that this is a tall order. I might come up with some sort of prize to give somebody if I use their acronym. But if you think of a good acronym for Stet, then just email me. Underpope, like the first episode of Stet. Keep them coming. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun to do. And, when you script it, you don't say a lot. And it needs less editing. Perhaps I should learn something from that. But it also takes a lot of time on the front end. Kay Kimmy, I have messaged you on Discord and on Patreon. Check them out, because I got questions for you. But good to see you. Anyway, I said the Patreon thing, my blog and show notes, even though no one cares about blogs anymore, apparently, are at merverse.com, where you can find out all about my books and my podcasts. Escape Pod is the Hugo finalist magazine that I co-edit with Valerie Valdez, also known as The Kids Are Asleep in Chat, and we give free science fiction every week. escapepod.org, and that's a fun thing I do. And then I do these podcasts. So I am a busy, busy mer. I hope that you get some work done. I hope you have a good, positive outlook on this year. And thank you to all my patrons. And you guys should be writing. I dropped my washi tape. I regret these shelves. I do. Stet is only audio. I probably should do video, but doing video requires like another level of setup. And I always worry that I'm going to lose interest in if I do. I don't know what it is about my freaking brain, is that things with a lot of setup, I think I worry that I will get bored of all the work I have to do and just drop it. And so I kind of sidle up to the thing like a surprise. Like, oh, we're streaming this afternoon. I had no idea. Instead of like at 1:30 sit down to try to fix everything in the stream and prepare and all that. I don't know why my brain does this. I'm trying, really trying hard to have it not do that. But the fact that I scripted Stet was a big step for me. Huge. Oh, hush. They're bringing me a package. I don't know if you guys can hear Rosa. That'll make it easier to add to my driving playlist. Good. Yeah, it's all the barriers. And Stet is audio. It is for, it's at patreon.com/mightymer. It's free for now. It's the whole, the first one's free, kid. Just to get people interested in what it is. And, medal for doing the thing. Yay, yes. But yeah. Is anybody streaming that I know of? Noisy. Let's not do that. Just talk amongst yourselves. Tripping Crutch is doing Marvelous Mayhem. Or Marvelous Mayhem at Marvel's Midnight Suns. Sorry. I've not seen much of Marvel's Midnight Suns, but from what I see, it looks pretty interesting. So we're going to raid into Tripping Crutch. The raid call is #MerRaid, and he does a really chill stream, not a ton of talking, but usually interesting just to be with, to hang out with. So, yeah, be as awesome there as you are here with me. And I'll set up that raid. Well, thank you guys for showing up. It really, really makes a lot of this easier for me. I have a block in a lot of things that I do of, if I do this, it's just going to float away like a fart on the wind and no one's going to care or notice. And just you guys showing up for the stream makes me not feel that way. So it really matters to me that you're here. So thank you. And yeah, we're going to go check out Tripping Crutch's stream right now. And I'll see you guys hopefully Monday. I haven't talked to Ursula, but I will contact her. I also didn't mention I Should Be Writing is Thursdays, 3 p.m. Eastern. Ditch Diggers, hopefully every other Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern, where we talk a little bit more rudely about the life of an author. But we will see you guys next time.